must be here to see about the Heimdallr Monster, obviously, because you clicked the link and here you are. So I hope this video will interest you and accommodate your entertainment needs. But if it doesn't, I am sorry. But if it does, subscribe, join the gang, and you'll continue to see my content, which hopefully will enlighten, entertain, and bring you into the community, and you can join us for the ride of silly watch reviews. And I hope you enjoy this one. It'll be informative. There'll be outdoor shots. There's going to be information that you need to know. And basically, it'll just be me talking into a camera about a watch. So I hope you enjoy. I'll see you shortly. So in here is the Heimdallr Monster Homage. Thanks to my good friend Jim for lending me this watch, and here it is. I love that he went for the blue dial. Now you can get some different colorways. Orange, there's a red one, blue, there's black. Blue's nice, obviously it's appropriate for diving style color, ocean. It looks like an abyss in the ocean. I do like that, it's really cool. So it comes with a decent box, you know. It's not bad considering these watches. I'm going to put a link in the description for this watch you can get for just over £100 on AliExpress. And that is obviously an affiliate link, so if you do buy it I get a very small commission, but I will still keep this an unbiased and fair review, because at the end of the day, you'll sniff a rat if I'm being overly crazily positive about something which has flaws. But I always highlight when something has got little niggles and give a fair and overall review of a watch. So what can I tell you about this? We're going to start with the stats and the specs, because that's an important thing to get off the bat. And we're going to start with my good friend Libas, ever faithful servant in the weighing of all the watches for these reviews. So this has been sized up for my friend Jim, and I've got the links in the box. I'll put them in as well. So it is even sized up for my friend Jim, who's probably got a 7.5 to 8 inch wrist. It's 184 grams. So that's pretty heavy. Let's see what it weighs with all the links in. As you can see, it's just shy of 200 grams. So it's pretty heavy, but it's a good substantial feeling watch on your wrist. So I'd say it's reasonable. It's not uncomfortably heavy. Now, moving on, we need some dimensions. So let's measure the case size first. We have a case size of just under 42 millimeters. Watch thickness and height is 13.6. This crown is 6.8. Lug width is actually only 20, but the standard bracelet this comes with, it flares out a bit. So it flares out to 23. But the actual lug width for strap changes is 20 millimeters. So that's really good. It's a very practical size. The dial size is actually relatively small for this size watch. It's less than 30. So it's got a really wide, thick, chunky bezel design, which is fantastic. And the length of the watch, in traditional fashion for these types of case designs, it's only 47.6. So it's going to wear really well. So let's see how it looks on my 7-inch wrist. That is a really nice all-round size. Very comfortable. Not too long. The good thing about lug widths not being too long is, even though this is a nearly 42mm case size watch, which is relatively large, it wears really comfortably. So happy days. So now we've got those sort of dimensions out of the way. What you're going to need to know now is more the specification. Everything is brushed stainless steel, bit of polishing on the sides and a few other bits on the bracelet. But it's all 316L stainless steel. The glass is actually a partially domed sapphire with a subtle AR coating. Just about, see there, it's going to glare off the light, but that's to help you see. As you can see, there's the AR coating. It's on the underside, so the sapphire crystal is not impeded by any coating on there at all. This has got extremely good lume, C3 Superluminova. I'll show you the lume in a little bit. And we've got a rotating bezel, which has a lovely positive click, 120 click rotation, and everything lines up really well. And that's what you'd like to see, because these are the kind of things that we get picky on. So that's a good start. Let's check the screw down crown at the 4 o'clock position. Lovely knurling on the crown. Not signed at all, but it's got really nice machining. Lovely pop when you unscrew it. Really smooth manual wind action. Day and date adjust, so we click that into the day date adjust. So one way is for the day, so the date, and then the other way for the date, the day. Got to get it the right way around. It's a mixture of Japanese and English language on the day, which is fantastic. Jim likes to keep it in Japanese mode because he's super cool. But this is an NH36, which is basically a unbranded 4R36, which is what they use in the actual monsters. So you're getting the same movement you get in a monster. You have the same dimensions, the same specification, arguably a bit better because you get sapphire in this. I've used and played with a monster. God, that sounds wrong. I played with a Seiko monster, and that had a slightly more muffled, muted feeling to the bezel rotation. But we're splitting hairs here, really. And the only other difference I noticed really with the specification is the loom as well. I'd say Lumi Bright is a touch better. So now we're talking about loom. Let's check this one out. Now I haven't charged this up much. It's just been under the studio lights a little bit, and just look at it. It's fantastic. So bright. Try and get some focus. I will spend a bit of money on a better camera soon, guys, so you'll be able to get... It's better at doing light transitions. Come on! There we are, I've got some focus. I actually took it out of autofocus. I'm sure there'll be a lighting expert there who can help me, but I think my camera needs to be better. But the loom is fantastic. That's what we'd expect with a dive style watch. So you get a lovely bracelet. It's been really well machined. Solid end links in there. And nice signed case back, screw down, all the relevant details etched in the back there. And this says 200 meters. Let's get the hands out of the way. Automatic divers 200. Whereas the real monster, the real deal, if you will, which costs about 2 to 3 times what this costs, if not more, that is an official divers 200. It's been ISO rated, whereas this isn't. So I would say this is great for shallow, very shallow diving, snorkeling, things like that. So I would say it needs to be tested really by someone who's got the capability to go down to reasonable depths and slap a load of these Homage watches on their wrist just to see how well they do. I wish I could, but I had ear surgery years ago and I just can't go much deeper than a few feet, unfortunately. So my dreams of deep sea diving have been taken away from me. So let's check out this clasp. We've got milled aspects here. Lovely, this bit's pressed, but it's still a decent finishing on there. And nice positive click when you push that down, and then the fold over part is very nice and positive. Not rattly, and I do like the fact it's been stamped there, not etched, I think that is, on the Heimdallr logo. Nice touch. Really nice fitting. And you get some good micro adjust on here. You get 3, which is, for most people, is enough. But you also get, these links are all quite small, so you can get this to fit really comfortably, I'd say. You wouldn't have any troubles there. Happy days. So before we get carried away, before I move on to the other little aspects I've noticed about this watch, I'm going to now just rest this down and just encourage you to enjoy the next 30 seconds of seeing this watch in some natural light, which is very difficult in the winter in England with terrible weather, but we'll see what we can do. Enjoy. So now I need to discuss with you my just overall thoughts about what I would feel about recommending this watch or not. What do you get for your money? And is this a good one? Heimdallr, I've had hit and miss. This is a hit in my opinion, straight off the bat, because there's not been anything dramatically unpleasant about this watch, like I've unfortunately had in another model, which did have a bezel so stiff. Check that video out. It's for the green dial, the Sea Shepherd. When I was trying to turn it, because it was a tuna can homage, it had these kind of parts around the case which concealed part of the bezel. And when you're trying to turn the bezel, it was so stiff my finger slipped and cut on there. No such troubles with this. But first thing I noticed, as you're turning the bezel, if you just ever slightly rub points like here or around here, it's ever so slightly sharp. Not sharp in the sense of it's going to hurt you, it's just not quite as honed as if it was a Seiko, because they get those little nooks and crannies all sort of honed as well. But all around here is okay. There's a little bit of ever so slightly sharp edge there, ever so slightly on there, but I'm really splitting hairs here. It's, for a £110 watch, it is incredible. The fact that the crown screws in really smoothly, pops out and screws back in really smoothly. When I've had watches that cost considerably more than this, I have really difficult to use crowns, and when it's unscrewed and popped all the way out. Very minimal wobble. Fantastic. It's these little details that I like to share with you guys, because this all adds up to give you a feeling of integrity and quality with a timepiece. You know, it's not very rattly. The push pins is okay, it's acceptable, but I'd rather a good push pin than a awful screw pin, because a poorly done screw pin is actually a nightmare. So ever reliable, very rarely have problems with push pins. So I'm happy with that as a function. And I like the taper on the bracelet. And little things I've noticed as well. I mean, this side, if you look, the alignment, the machining is spot on in terms of where this groove is in the bezel. Right, it's all lined up, lines up perfectly with these slots, if you will, in the lower part of the case. Let's check out the other side. At the same time, doesn't quite line up. As you can see, that edge there, it's too far to the left. It doesn't quite line up. Again, I'm just being ultra picky, because it's these are kind of things you want to look out for. How incredible can you get a watch for £110? It's not going to be perfect. You're going to get slightly little sharp edges here and there. You might get a few little alignment issues. But look, you even get drilled lugs. That is another added feature, which is an expense and an extra feature that you don't always get on a watch of this sort of price. As you've seen, the loom is extremely good, especially at this price point. You're going to have the really reliable Seiko NH36 movement. It's definitely a quirky looking design. I'd say it's a Marmite watch. I mean, Seiko fanboys out there like myself do like this design. I like its quirkiness, and I like the other colorways you can get. I think I would have personally, I would get this in orange. The red one looks kind of crazy, because it actually looks like the mouth of a lamprey. That's what Jim said. It was a great point. It looks like a bloodied mouth of a horrible lamprey fish, which just looks gross, but that's part of the fun of this watch. That's where we come in. This is like a fun beast of a tool watch. You know, the fact they called it Monster, and it's got those teeth going around as the indices. They're really big and bold, and it's so clear to read with the very nice, very stubby yet very legible hour hand, and the long, slender but coming to a point minute hand, and you even get the loomed aspect on the second hand as well. It's really fun, and the fact you've got a shark logo as well for Heimdallr, it's a fun watch. It really is, and it definitely feels really well made and robust. Long term, I'm not sure how good this is, because it's a new watch, but there's not many other aspects to worry about, really. I'd say if you don't like the blue, you have other choices, and I'd say for the money, I'm impressed. This is the best Heimdallr I've seen, so Jim will be happy to hear that. The others have been okay. They've had sort of deal breaker problems. One was illegible, the other one had awful bezel action that, like I said, it cut me. And then it had a horrible chunky rubber strap, which this does come supplied with another strap, but this, as a strap seller myself, I know the difference between quality, and this isn't great. It's really rigid and stiff and feels really cheap. So being a 20mm lug width on this is a bit of strap monster, pardon the pun, as is a monster, but you're sport for choice. So in conclusion, really guys, would I recommend this watch? Wholeheartedly. Long term, I don't know how good it's going to be. There's a few tiny little snags and snots here and there, but for this price point, it's, I would say, remarkable. Sapphire crystal, lovely bezel action, really good screw down crown action, 200 meters water resist, fantastic loom, comfortable bracelet, and the overall build quality is surprisingly good for this price point. And we'll just have to end it there, guys. What more can I say? A glowing review for my dear friend Jim's watch, and he'll be paying me all the money to say thank you for that in the future. But no, that's not true. Honesty is paramount, and I say it as I see it, and I am impressed. So if you've enjoyed this video, which I hope you have, definitely like it, definitely subscribe, and I appreciate your comments. You guys are so good at this whole community feel, and I love it. It just lifts any dull day. It's so fun reading all your comments. So for that, I thank you again, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.